Bonjour, bonsoir à tous et bienvenue. Welcome to this week's Wada Forum. We are now in summer break mode, but not a break. We're in summer study session mode. So over the 12 weeks of summer, we are taking a challenge upon ourselves to explore as many free resources that we could find on the internet to plow through some different topics, keep our minds sharp, keep our skills sharp, keep building our community, keep growing, keep thinking over the summer. So, that we continue to grow and solidify our community. So for those of you who are new here, welcome. So glad you could make it today. These sessions are catered to be follow them all or pop in as you will. You don't need to attend every session. You can kind of come as the topics excite you. But one thing we like to always announce is that part of our summer challenge, we are offering a scholarship for the CBCA, the Cardano Academy certification. At the end of this summer, whoever is able to collect the most free credentials will be entered into a pool, and we'll be able to sponsor 5 of those people for this certification. So that's our little announcement. But now let's get into what are the topics. Oh, no, you're right, Richmond. Let's do the statement of purpose. Is Ayomi here? I see, Ayomi, you're dropping in and out. Is your network okay? She's not here right now. Is that right? Okay, well, perhaps I will invite Baudouin to read the French. And then I'm seeing some new names in here, so maybe you are going by a different name. But Max, would you like to read the English side? Max, are you able to unmute?
Oh, hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Yes, hello, welcome.
Okay.
Is it your first time on the forum?
Yeah, it's my first time on the forum.
Okay, you're very welcome. So something we like to do at the beginning of each session is just kind of a reminder of, WADA, what we're doing, why we're here, and why we put these forums together. So I like to bring out people from the audience to read these, so I'm not just reading through it alone every time. So it sounds like you're an English speaker, so I'd love for you to read the English side. And then I noticed a French speaker in the audience. I've asked for the French side, if you're comfortable.
No problem. Our mission is to elevate the underrepresented groups through the application of technology and invest in a more equitable future.
All right, awesome. Thanks so much for doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Baudouin, je te donne la présence comme le francophone aujourd'hui.
Oui. Ok, je lis notre mission. C'est élever les groupes sous-représentés grâce à l'application de la technologie et investir dans un avenir plus équitable.
Merci beaucoup, Baudouin.
Okay.
And just a reminder, we have a bilingual group, but unfortunately, just based on the globe as it is, English is the predominant language. We go back and forth between trying a more bilingual setting, but it can cause frustrations. Pour les francophones, si vous avez des problèmes avec Google Meet, il y a une façon de mettre les sous-titres en votre langue. Alors, si vous voulez explorer ça, je peux vous donner plus d'informations sur ça. All right. Anyways, so this is kind of what our summer program is looking like. We are now in week 3. Sorry, are we in week 3? Yes, week 3. So we've already kind of started covering some of the blockchain basics. And we're going to spend 4 weeks on each of the different themes. So this week and next week, kind of wrapping up the big blockchain topics. And next theme will be kind of branching out a little bit into Web3 and business models, and kind of particular skills, smart contracts, NFTs, as well as marketing. And I would, just point out on the far right-hand column, we have a space for moderator sign up. So in particular, we've been kind of making sure we have the next week covered, but as you guys are all starting to get more familiar with how this is running, I would encourage people to sign up for future weeks ahead of time. We have Alfred already signed up for week 7. So that's great. And then let's go to the next slide. All right, and then the last 4 weeks of our study session will be focusing on AI and kind of career business opportunities. And our week 13 will be kind of a recap session, giving all of the hubs or individuals, participants, a chance to present on what you learned this summer. So that's a little bit of an overview. And I hope Ayomi is back with us now.
Yes,
Ayomi, are
Megan.
you here? Awesome.
Yes.
All right. Well, Ayomi has graciously volunteered to moderate today's session. So I'm going to pass over to you. But feel free to, call on us, and let's all be participatory in the rest of the dialogue. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I want to say that on the I know we have a spreadsheet, the one you created for the summer session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I
Actually, Richmond, you could pull the slide up and we could put the QR code up for everyone to have that spreadsheet.
Okay, the thing is that I dropped a document link I commented a document link for my own, for this session we're having today. I don't know if you can pick it up from there so we can share the document on the call.
Oh,
Do you
great.
understand what I'm saying?
Let me check. All right, yes, I see your comment. So let me see, where should I do this? Should I share screen?
Yes.
All right, hold on a second. Well, Richmond, you're already sharing. Do you see the link she's talking about?
No.
It's okay.
I'm linked to that.
Yes, thank you very much. So when Richmond reached out and said that, there was going to be a picture or something, I was like, what?
Yeah, well, we hadn't done that for the previous moderators, but we thought it might be motivating for you all. So going forward, we were thinking we would feature the moderator in some of the marketing before the event.
Okay, yeah, that's
so
true.
Thanks for
So hi guys. I'm happy to be here with us today for this session. And this is going to be an interactive session, and I hope to get our inputs while talking and all. So I'm supposed to be talking about Cardano in context today. And before that, let us just have a little recap of what we discussed at the last meeting. So So at the last meeting, we talked about multi-chains and all, where we said that where a lot of things were discussed, where we mentioned different chains and where they focused on, just like Cardano focuses on research, governance, security, decentralization, and all. Bitcoin focuses on digital money, all of those things. And we were able to get input from different people on why we need multiple chains, because one blockchain cannot optimize everything, trade-offs exist. If you increase speed, if this chain is actually good at speed, it might reduce in decentralization, all of those things. And that is why we need different chains, so that everything can be balanced. It's just like having a mobile phone. It cannot just use just one app to do everything. Different apps have what they are used for and all of that. So today we just want to focus on Cardano, and I was able to align some of the things. Like, if we want to go into Cardano to some extent, there are some of the things that we need to know about Cardano, and that was why I highlighted some things here. We have origins of Cardano, Cardano development milestones, staking on Cardano, governance in Cardano, and some other things. So the first four are actually things that anybody can relate with very well at a deeper level. But the last three are kind of technical in some way. So that is why I put it like that, so that we can actually, get the not too technical part very well in this session. So let's start with the origins of Cardano. Can you click on this tab? Yes, thank you. Yes. So while I was reading, I was able to summarize some of the things that we should know in regards to origin of Cardano. The first paragraph, we can see there are three Cardano Genesis entities, and sometimes some people call it founding entities. Now it means that it means that these entities are the backbone of Cardano. We have the Cardano Foundation, we have the IOG. Before, the IOG was called Input Output Hong Kong, and then we have Emugo. And I think I just heard recently that Emugo just stepped down. I don't know if you guys heard about that too. Yeah.
Well, not yet. They are planning to step down, but not yet.
Okay.
It's in the pipeline.
Okay, so the pipeline. All right. So below we have some of the responsibilities of these founding entities. For Cardano Foundation, we can see it supports the adoption and advancement of Cardano by providing utilities to the ecosystem, developing enterprise infrastructure tooling, and driving education through different initiatives and so on. So it's more like Cardano Foundation is the one that makes sure that Cardano is being heard, in the wider space and all. And in 2015, Charles Hoskinson and Jeremy Wood co-founded IOG. IOG is also one of the founding entities of Cardano, or you call them Genesis entities. And this particular entity is the development and science arm for Cardano. They are focused on this academic research, protocol development, and things like that. And we also have Emugo. Emugo basically drives Cardano's commercial adoption in Asia and Africa. They concentrate on fintech infrastructure. They develop the Yoroi wallets, and I think there are some issues going on with the Yoroi wallets now. Yoroi Yoroi rebranded ZecondFi, and currently there are some issues going on in the ecosystem about that wallet. I'm sure that we've been hearing about the news as well. Emugo is also in one of the some of the other responsibilities is that they're also in charge of ecosystem growth, smart contract audit, and so on. So while I was learning, I saw that they also this social network called Cardano Sport. I've never heard of that before. I don't know if anyone knows about Cardano Sport. I only know about Cardano Forum. I don't know about Cardano Sport. Does anyone know about it?
Yeah. It was created to throw significant spotlight to projects that were building on the Cardano ecosystem. So yeah, it has a YouTube branch and it has this blog post branch as well. But it was something that was being controlled by Cardano Foundation in conjunction with Mergo.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I was wondering what that meant. I thought it was like maybe an app or social media app or something. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. So basically Cardano's mission is towards innovation and long-term sustainability. Most of how would I put this? Most of Cardano is third generation. Am I correct?
You said it's what?
I said Cardano belongs to third generation, right?
Well, it has a blend, right? There's some of the features belongs to the second generation, and then some of them, the rest of them actually belongs to the rest of the generation that we have right now, right? So we could just count it as, of course, officially we could say it's a third generation blockchain, but then most of its features, are those that resonate with that of the second generation blockchain features.
Yeah. So yes, and Cardano is basically just improving upon those previous output. Is it output or input from other generations, and making it stronger and all. So basically there are key areas that Cardano is actually focusing on for mass adoption, and their scalability, interoperability, and governance. Yeah, these key areas are what I learned from the Cardano Academy. And in this session of origins of Cardano, I was able to highlight some questions that we could, look out together and talk about. So the first question I wrote down is, why and how is Cardano doing better in these areas compared to other chains like Bitcoin and Ethereum? I mean, in these areas of scalability, interoperability, and governance. Yeah. Does anyone would love to share something with us? Anybody? I mean, in terms of scalability, how is Cardano doing better compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Maybe I could jump in here. I think Another way we could approach this question, right, that everyone can answer, and you don't feel the pressure to say something specific, but a lot of us came together because of Cardano, right? So for some reason or another, you all decided that you were interested in Cardano. Not that it was necessarily your favorite, but for some reason, something about it brought you in. So maybe everyone could answer this question from a personal perspective of what was it about Cardano that brought you in? And I can start. So some of you know Monfo, my partner, who's more into the technical aspects and was the one who brought us in from that perspective and cared a lot about, some of the benefits it offers as a blockchain. But I can say, without honesty, kind of the piece that brought me in was Project Catalyst. And that might be true for some of us here, but that was the pretty unique and interesting thing that Cardano offered in its early days, was a kind of grant funding platform to build in the community. And that has transitioned. We no longer have Project Catalyst now. But just in terms of what was that first piece for me, that's what I wanted to share. And maybe some other people can talk about theirs, either if it's your first thing or something else that came up. Yeah, Harrien's got her hand up.
Hi, Megan. Hi, everyone. So I think Megan has broken that down, and it's like it is now looks like everyone is like you have an answer, because it's more of what brought you in. So on my side as well, what really brought me in is similar with Megan, just that when I heard that Cardano was more of a community, when I got in, I started with the review thing. So when I was doing the review, or when anyone does the review, even if you have not submitted any proposal, it gives you an idea. You read someone's proposal and it gives you idea of what exactly a proposal should look like. And that even opens more doors on how can you get involved as a community member, even if you are not anywhere in Cardano, but as a community member, reviews gives you an open door to just view or have a clear picture or a bigger picture on how important a community is to Cardano. That is what really attracted me. And before I finish, just to say thank you to my community members. They are here, more than 4. Thank you so much for joining the study session. Back to you, Ayomi.
Yeah, thank you very much, Megan and Erin, for contributing to that. And it's good to know how you came across Cardano.
At this point, can we take time at this point to state however we got to? I think everybody must have coming through something very unique that we all want to hear. I guess most is going to be by Catalyst myself. Yes, I also got into it through Catalyst proposal. So I just invited by someone to look at projects that are put into the funding round and see like who writes some projects. At some point, I got in touch with Wada, reviewed some proposals, and then I got into the reviewer thing. So, yeah, pretty much that's how I also got into it. So, yeah, maybe Ayomi, you can give everybody the opportunity, as many as want to speak, to tell us how they also got it. But before that, thank you very much, Harry, for bringing your members. We encourage everybody to bring their members so that we can have more people to interact with this discussion. Thank you. Bashir.
Yeah, thank you. I don't call you Samuel, but calling you Samuel is now weird. I don't know what I used to call you before, but
No, don't
thank
worry.
you.
Just call me someone.
Mhm. Thank you. And it's so crazy to say that I also got to know about Cardano through Project Catalyst. It's so funny. So, when it was through Project Catalyst, I got to know about Cardano too. Someone came to our school to tell us, oh, if you have an idea, come and propose. Then you get funded, that kind of thing. And also, you can also review other people's proposal, things like that. That was how I also got to know about Cardano. I think I saw Megan's hand up first.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just kind of wanted to build on it a little bit because I think, if we're tending towards talking about Project Catalyst and that's not really happening anymore, maybe the next kind of follow-up question is that's what brought us in, but what made us stay? Because, we no longer have Project Catalyst. There's, of course, the Open Treasury, which is now kind of an alternative, although a lot of the community doesn't want us to think of it that way, because Project Catalyst was more for innovative projects, small, kind of starting a variety of different things, and the treasury withdrawals are more for maintaining the Cardano ecosystem and building essential infrastructure, and things like that. But maybe for those of you who have not contributed yet to the discussion, your response could be more around kind of what made you even stay or come to this session today. And an acceptable answer is that you don't know. If we have some new people here, maybe you don't know enough about Cardano and you came here to learn more. But feel free to raise your hand, or maybe we'll let Ayomi pick on people as well. But over to you, Nana Sakmo.
Well, I guess I would have to frame my experience around the three key points we are looking at, which is scalability, interoperability, and then governance. In terms of scalability, we have seen Cardano, of course, emerging from scientific, peer-reviewed research, and it has also thrived around that same lines. So whenever you mention Cardano, the first thing that those who are really learned in this ecosystem or in this space, talk about is the fact that we have a scientific research background that is kind of holding us together, right? So if some of you would recall recently, IOG did field a proposal, a governance action, looking to fund some research works, and then DREPs, at some point were not interested in funding that particular governance action, and IOG used the fact that Cardano thrives on research to sort of threaten DREPs that if they don't fund it, then they're going to close down or shut down the research center, which eventually would lead to maybe collapse of Cardano or whatever it is, right? Because we see that as the main backbone, right? And then if it is out of these researches that we came across applications like Hydra, which sought to expand the accuracy and the speed of the blockchain, which in turn looks at helping those who are DApp developers in the ecosystem, right? So, and of course, out of that, we are also going to experience layoffs, Ouroboros layoffs very soon, and I think November or December latest. And these are all measures, right, that are the concepts are derived from research, and then when they are built, they seek to enhance the functionality of the blockchain, which basically leads to how we are scaling from where we started from in the beginning. If I'm to compare this with Bitcoin, you realize that Bitcoin, once it got launched, it was launched purposely for transaction, and that has been the main purpose or the only function since then, right? It has not scaled to any other thing. It is just that it is only Ethereum who are also looking at implementing or integrating these other scalability options in their ecosystem, and they're also looking to develop from that angle, right? And then from interoperability, I would say, I mean, if you are to ask me about interoperability, I would definitely give that to Ethereum because they've done an enormous amount of work with that. Cardano has also, done some job because recently I saw some publication that we're having partnerships with Visa, right? Anybody who knows Visa, that is used for smart payments. So that is we trying to expand our rings in terms of allowing people use our tokens to make international transactions and payments. So it's we trying to use that interoperability option that is available to blockchain applications as well. So that's how we are also using our features to also expand our ecosystem as well, right? And it also adds to the level at which new people come into the ecosystem, because some are just looking out for ways and means to conduct transactions without having to worry about any other issues that they may be of, right? And in terms of governance, we are all evident to what Voltaire has brought so far. It has given us access to the treasury, and it is recently, even though there was Polkadot governance, and some DAOs also had governance modules in place, Cardano was the very first blockchain to launch, on-chain governance. And now we are hearing that Solana has also, moved along the same lines of, launching their own, on-chain governance. And it tells you that other blockchains are going to follow because it is something that is useful to the entire ecosystem, right? So this is how I see Cardano trying to set the pace, right? Because we move in and then the other blockchains, also follow us in that direction. And I think that is how we probably are leading the way in terms of, creating an ecosystem that is lovely for everybody to come in and then do whatever they want to do. So of course, there was Project Catalyst. Unfortunately, it is paused at the moment. But the fact that people still have access to the treasury to get some funding to still do what they want to do for the ecosystem still remains, the fact that Cardano remains attractive to organizations and, investors and individuals who want to, bring in their knowledge and then build something for the ecosystem, right?
But Nana, do people really have access to funding as of related to the days of Catholic? You talk about that?
Well, if we are to compare the current mechanism with what we had with Project Catalyst, definitely I would say no, because there are some blockages at the moment. For instance, if you want to submit a governance action, you would need 100,000 data deposit, of course, which is refundable, right? And it is obvious that it is not everybody, which is individual, who has that amount of money to spare, right? So it has become something like a blocker for individuals who want to engage with the treasury. But then for organizations, they are able to raise this amount of money to get it. But I think that is also relevant because it prevents spamming and also kind of reduces the workload on D-reps, because of course at this point D-reps are not being compensated for the work that they're doing. So the work needs to be minimized in whichever way possible so that it is not like something tedious for them to worry about. Because even currently now, we are seeing D-reps dropping because they feel like the work is too much, but then they are not getting compensated, which is another conversation for another day.
Yeah. And Megan was asking, sorry, Ayomi, we are taking the conversation from your moderation point of view, but
no, of course, please.
Megan was asking what made participants, those on the call stage, at this point, given the issues that we are having with Cardano, some of the stuff that you mentioned, it was not clear from your submission what made you stay, but I think what it to stay at this point, looking at how things are turning out.
Yeah, for me, I think it is governance. The fact that I have the opportunity to play a key role in governance is what is keeping me with Cardano, right? It is not really about the value of the token anymore, because we have depreciated drastically, and that is, at the most discouraging point. So it definitely cannot motivate me to be around. But then the fact that I have the opportunity to play a key role and contribute to the governance is what is keeping me with Cardano. And I believe it is also the same with some other individuals, especially those who are playing the roles as D-reps and maybe CCs, which is constitutional committee members, right? So those ones are definitely hanging around because at least they have something that they are doing to help the ecosystem. So that would be my answer to why I'm still hanging around.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you. But so Ayomi, please take over.
Thank you very much, Nana Safo, for your breaking down of the question that I asked. And yes, thank you. And for the question that Megan asked, that we're talking about what brought us to Cardano. And then we can as well shift the question a little, just like Megan suggested. Project Catalyst brought some of us here. Now Project Catalyst is, out of the way. So why are we still here? Before we move to the next thing, why are we still here? Can anyone tell me why he or she is still here?
I can take it first.
Okay.
On to what I said as response to Samuel, I think the fact that we have a community is also something that keeps me around. When you take the other blockchains, right, it's very difficult to identify their community. Unlike Cardano, for instance, you can go to Twitter right now and make a post about Cardano, and you will see people interacting with that particular post, like real human beings, right, asking you real questions, giving you real answers. But when you do same with other blockchains, it's very hard to get same reaction or interaction, and that is what discourages a lot of people when they see no humans or no community behind a particular project. But for Cardano, the fact that we have a community, for instance, I head on Discord right now, I can jump into channels, Cardano channels, and start chatting with people, start interacting, start building ideas. That alone is enough reason to still be around, even though, when you look at the metrics, it is not really looking as enticing as people would want it to be, right? Because if ADA was around like $3 by now, I'm sure a lot of people will be happy, extremely happy. But now that ADA is hovering around 0.16, a lot of people are actually angry at the fact that we are losing value or we are depreciating. But they are still around because they have a belief, right, that at some point, because we have this community, the community could come together and do something, and then that would rally the value of ADA, and then everybody will be happy at the end of the day. So for me, I think it is a community. The fact that I still have the opportunity to interact with the community, individuals, build ideas, and then, work on stuff to help, the ecosystem development is something that is really keeping me around. Aside from, the fact that I'm also heavily involved in the governance aspect of Cardano.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Nana, for that. That was insightful. Any other person would love to share why they are still around, even at 16 cents? Anyone? Or we just move on to the next thing we have? Okay, maybe we should just move on. Please, can you help us go to the next thing? Yes, Cardano development. Okay. Yes. So for this, for the development part, this roadmap or milestone, or I don't know what we can call it, speaking from the angle of me being a product manager, when you want to build a product, you plan it out, you map out, you create milestones for it, you create roadmap for it. It shows that, this is not just a short-term thing. This is not just, something you're just building, but you have plans, there's vision for it. So just like that, Cardano has roadmaps, And before that, for someone who doesn't know, Cardano was actually named after Gerolamo Cardano, a mathematician. Yep. So in case you're wondering, because some people that I've met on my X spaces because I host X spaces, and they'll be like, Cardano, the name sounds so somehow, like it doesn't sound like Solana, it doesn't sound like this, doesn't sound like that, And I'm like, okay. And I told them that it was actually named after a mathematician, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So Cardano was named after a mathematician. And okay, let's move on. For the roadmap, we have Cardano currently is currently the right word. Cardano has different milestones. It has a roadmap, and we have 5 different milestones in this roadmap, and these milestones represent different eras. They are more like historical figures and all. So the first one is in the Cardano roadmap, we have Byron, and that is for foundation, like the foundation of Cardano. And during that stage, or during that milestone, it was, how will I put this? Okay, during the milestone was when we're talking about foundation. Foundation means how something came about, the conception of something, the how something was built, the genesis of something, right? So during this Byron milestone, we had a lot of things that were done or things that were in place for Cardano then, such as the bootstrapping of network, so that users can transact with Cardano, which is the ecosystem's token. And we also have the token in the ecosystem, what we use in the ecosystem, ADA, for transaction. And ADA was actually named after Lord Byron's daughter, Ada Lovelace. And I don't know what they call it, just like we have dollar and cents. I don't know how they put that in English. Every country has its currency, and the English is failing me, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Just like we have, I think I can speak for my own country's currency. I think 100 kobo is 1 naira. So just like that. So we have 1 million Lovelace equals to 1 ADA. And also, Cardano has a fixed supply of 45 billion ADA. And also, every ADA holder, yes, I'm supposed to write holder there. Every ADA holder can stake their ADA to get incentivized, as well as securing the network. Okay, let me give you guys a little story about the staking of ADA. So when I just joined oh my God, this is so funny. When I just joined Cardano, and I was so curious, learning this, learning that, and someone had told me that I should stake my ADA so that I can help in securing the network, and also I'll get rewards at the end of the epoch, things like that. In my head, when the person told me to stake my ADA, I was thinking that I'm giving out. I thought I was giving out all my ADA to somebody. Man, I did not stake my ADA that time because I was scared. I was like, no, why would I stake my ADA? Why would I give someone my ADA? No, I'm not staking. But I did not know that me staking my ADA does not mean that my ADA is leaving my wallet. I still have full access to my ADA. So when you're staking your ADA, you're just helping to secure, the network, and also at the end, and Cardano is still so nice that at the end of every epoch, after staking your ADA, you still get rewards for staking your ADA. So the second milestone is the second milestone in the roadmap is decentralization. Just like I said that Cardano with how we do our things, the first milestone was named after someone, Byron. Just like so, the second milestone for decentralization is also named after someone, Shelley. Now, during this period of this second milestone, this milestone of decentralization of Shelley, that was when the introduction of stake pools was implemented and stake pool operators. In my own little knowledge, okay, before I even say what I know, can someone tell us what they know by stake pools and stake pool operators? Do you mind telling us what you know about that? Stake pool operators.
Do we have any stake pool operators on the call? I think Baudouin is not here anymore. Do we have anyone here who is operating a stake pool?
From what I'm seeing, no, we don't have anyone. We don't have any stake pool operator here. So maybe Ayomi, if you have a theoretical explanation, maybe you can give it to us, and then of course it would have been nice to have it from the practical aspect. I can chime in a bit, but then just give us the theoretical, and then I'll chime in a bit with some practicalities.
Okay. Yes. Basically, what I know about stake pool operators is that, okay, number one, as a stake pool operator, anybody can actually be a stake pool operator as long as, any, how would I put this? As long as you run nodes as a validator, and also, I'm trying to make this thing make sense. I don't want to scatter what being a stake pool operator means that you are helping in securing the network by producing new blocks to the chain, helping in processing transactions, things like that. Yes, that is like an overview of what stake pool operators means to me. Yes, Nana.
Yeah. Whenever you hear of stake pool operators, just think of security men or security personnel at, let's say, the presidential house. Okay. Every security guard in that regard is acting as a node, and a node here can be just opposed with a computer, just a single computer, maybe a laptop, right? And then what that person is doing is receiving and confirming information. That's basically their job over there as security men. So they are just receiving and confirming information. So now, bringing it back to the technical aspect, in Africa, we used to have about 3-4 stake pools. It's unfortunate that they have all retired at the moment because
Yes, we can hear you now. We lost you for a few minutes.
Yeah. So like I was saying, we had about 4 stake pool operators in Africa. We had Smarts on Africa, we had Goma Stake Pool, and we had some 2 other retired at the moment that I'm talking, because there's lack of staking or delegation to their pools, right? And this thing, like I'm saying, every single stake pool represents a computer. And as we all know, every computer needs power to run. And this particular computer also needs to interact with the internet to be able to get access to the blockchain, to receive and confirm, or in other words, validate transactions that are ongoing, right? And these transactions are normally termed as blocks. So they receive these blocks and then they confirm or validate these blocks, and then it allows transactions to go through. So it means that there is that internet accessibility cost factor, and there's also the electricity cost factor as well. And then of course you need a human being to be sitting behind this computer to be able to validate these blocks as and when they do come in. Because when the blocks come in and you are not around to validate it in real time, it moves on to another blockchain. That's why we call it a decentralized network. So there are millions of computers, which technically we term them as nodes, scattered around, and each one is waiting for that one opportunity or that one block to be able to validate, so that at the end of the epoch, they would have access to rewards to share with their those who are delegating to them, right? And also, of course, also get something for themselves to be able to take care of these operational expenses. So in Africa, it has become something that is quite expensive because electricity bills are going up high. So right now, ADA has lost significant amount of value, which is depreciation. So it means that whatever rewards you are getting at the end of epoch, and mind you, you will need serious amount of money delegated to you to be able to get significant staking rewards. For instance, if you had about 70 million ADA delegated to your pool, which essentially would saturate your pool, then what it means is that at the end of every epoch, you would have blocks to mint. Even if you are unable to mint a block, you're able to generate about 40,000 ADA as staking reward, right? But the question is, how much ADA are we holding in Africa to be able to delegate to these pools, right? So at some point, the pools were hovering around 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, some around 500,000, 700,000, 200,000. So it was not a beneficial business to them. So they all have to drop out. But if you look at the Western side, they're able to share with their delegators, and I don't know, they also get something significant to take care of their pool as well. Can you guys hear me? It looks like I've lost my connection. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah, we can still hear you. We can hear you.
Perfect. So that's how the stake pool operation works, right? It's just computers scattered all over, accessing the blockchain, communicating with it, receiving information, which is receiving blocks, and then validating these blocks as in regards to transactions, and then getting some rewards and then sharing with their delegators. And of course, with your story, right? Even with governance, at some point, or let me say at the beginning, when you talk to people to delegate their holdings to you as a D-Rep, they would say, "Oh, I'm not going to give you my money," right? Because they thought they were giving you their tokens, right, for you to manage or do whatever with it. So it all boils down to education. The fact that people need to be educated to understand how some of these things work. Sometimes it can be a bit technical, but then when you're able to break it down, then they get the understanding, then they get to chime in on the process, and it helps everybody. So that's the little bit I would say about stake pools.
Thank you very much, Nana. Nana, are you a teacher? Are you a teacher by profession?
Well, I am a general educator, not necessarily a teacher, but I'm an educator.
Well done. You did justice to the definition. Yeah, and I like the scenario you gave for stake pool operators, that they are like security guards, and all of that. Yeah, I think that will stick to people that way. Thank you, Nana. Where are we? Okay, so we are done with the foundation era, the decentralization era. Okay, yeah, we are still here. So another thing about this era is that on the 31st of March 2021, Cardano hit a milestone where block production became fully decentralized. Yep. We are 1 minute past the time. Should we just round up?
Well,
this
actually,
one?
we were gonna go an hour and a half this week, as per requested from last week. So as long as you have the time, we're free to go on a bit more.
Okay. Yeah. So the third era and the roadmap is Gogoenda, which is for smart contracts. It means the whole idea of smart contracts started in this Gogoen era, and during this era, it involved the programmability of smart contract, development of dApps, multi-asset ledger, having native tokens, minting of native tokens and all, and the NFTs period and all like that. So we also have the Batcho, which is the scaling era. This helped in improving interoperability and also boosting performance for transaction volume increase. And here we are now. I don't know how to pronounce it. Voltaire. Is it Voltaire? Voltaire era, which is for governance. And I can say that we are in these two era, like simultaneously, like we are still here and here. Or what do you guys think? Or what do you guys think? I feel like we are still in these two era, this scaling and governance era. And for this governance era, it involves a lot of things. The Cardano improvement proposals. What's the English word, man? Okay, we also have the on-chain governance. This is when the on-chain governance came to life and all. And on-chain governance is a very big thing for me. Very, very big thing for me. Yeah. So for Cardano roadmap, we have 5 milestones here. We have the foundation, we have the decentralization era, smart contract era, scaling and governance era. In case someone asks you. So this is it. So while I was studying on Cardano Academy, I came across ad forks, and I also know that I usually see ad forks being mentioned as a governance action or something, and I do not really get the whole, because I'm not a technical person, so I'm not really getting the whole idea of ad forks. But then I just know that they're saying there's a change, maybe like changes, and I don't really get the whole idea. I don't know if anybody can explain ad forks for non-technical people like myself, so we can get a better understanding of what it is. Thank you, William. Please go ahead.
Yeah, a hard fork is simply the split of a project, because when say 2 people operating one project are not getting along, they can decide to shift the way the project operates. That is a hard fork, and where just minor changes are done to the project, yeah, that's a soft fork.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
I wanted to. Oh, sorry.
Please go ahead, Megan.
Okay, yeah. No, I wanted to jump in here because I also know that definition of hard fork, but I wonder if anyone is familiar with the hard forks. I think that there are 2, one that just happened, one that's going to happen, that are going on currently. And if anyone could help me to understand that better. So I think I understand quite well kind of the big picture of what it's supposed to be, and the applications for, well, maybe this is where I feel like I'm missing a piece of it that would help me understand what's going on right now. So I wonder if anyone is familiar with what's happening right now and could talk a little bit more about that specifically. William, your hand is still up. Is it because you're wanting to continue?
No, I think I'm done. That's a brief description of what hard and soft fork.
Okay, sure.
My connection.
Yeah, no, that's something. You can help me with the names, right, of the current hard forks, right? Perhaps.
I mean, there are a lot of hard forks, right? So if you say current, I don't know exactly which one you're referring to.
Right, sure.
A lot of hard forks have actually happened. The most recent one that I know, I think it got ratified just today, was the one that has to do with reducing the committee main size, right? So that is a recent hard fork that has been worked on, and that basically seeks to when we launched Wada, according to the governance structure that was drafted, the CIP 1694, there was supposed to be a minimum amount of, a minimum number of constitutional committee members to vote on a particular governance action to be able to determine, that 67% threshold, right? But then, and it was 7 actually, and we also had, I think it was 5, and then we also had 7. Constitutional committee members. So right now, this particular CC main size is seeking to reduce that number 5 to about 3, so that even when some CC members decide not to operate anymore, along the lines, it will not render governance in state of shock, or let me say, it will not bring governance to a halt, like we experienced some months back, where when was it the Ace Alliance? There was this CC group that decided to not continue anymore because they fielded a proposal looking to get some funds to incentivize the work that they were doing, and then D-Reps, denied that or declined that particular proposal, and then for that reason they decided not to continue anymore, right? So that brought governance to a halt because we had to organize an election to be able to elect new CC member to replace that particular CC, so that we can continue with governance, right? So this is what DCC main size sought to do, just to make sure that it gives us that room where even if 1 or 2 CC members, along the lines decide not to continue anymore, it doesn't necessarily bring governance to a halt or a state of emergency, but rather we're able to conduct, a by-election and then have new people coming in to continue the job without necessarily bringing governance to a halt. So that is the most recent one. And like I mentioned earlier, we are going to receive, another governance action which would also focus on hard fork. That would be to introduce Ouroboros layers to, the ecosystem. Operational Ouroboros layers to the ecosystem, and that is something we are expecting now around November, December thereabout, and that basically is going to scale up Cardano's capability in terms of transaction processing per minute or per second. But if I'm to throw a bit of light on what hard forks are, they are more like
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that hard forks are more like policies, right? That we design to effect changes to Cardano as a project. So Cardano, like William said, Cardano in a whole or at large is a project. But then for any changes to be effected onto the Cardano as a project, it needs to be accepted by the ecosystem, and that kind of acceptance can only come from a hard fork, and that hard fork affects the protocol at its highest level. So it means that before anybody can make serious changes to the blockchain, for instance, if you want to change how many seconds the transaction should last or should take on the Cardano blockchain. You can't just submit any proposal at all and say, I want to do this, so it should be done, right? You need a hard fork proposal. And then when, of course, it is passed, SPUs would have to update their nodes. All the SPUs would have to update their nodes to be able to take that particular hard fork in effect. So it is extremely technical, process, and it is mostly reserved for those who are, technically inclined in the ecosystem, especially the SPUs, to sort of handle, some of this. But of course, as mere persons as we are, we can also engage with the discussions to try and understand and also try and chime in our ideas. And then once that is done, those who are in charge of putting together that particular after proposals, which is mostly the product committee, will do that, and then they will put it on chain for SPOs and DREPs to go on.
Yeah, I wonder if I see Abdul Basit, I see your hand up, but I wanted to, and I'm hoping you have more of an answer. So I wanted to interject with another question. And maybe I'm getting stuck on the language of it, right? Because a fork to me, you think of a fork in the road, there's then like two paths that go forwards, or three even, right? But let's say two. So my understanding, which maybe is off, but is that this kind of creates a new path for the Cardano blockchain. But is the other path still going? Like, is there still a road of Cardano that's still operating without this min committee size? And how do they, I guess, work together, or how do we make sure that everyone's on the same thing? So maybe your answer can shed something on that.
Okay. Thank you, Megan, for that question. I'm really, really interested in that. And one thing I've always been doing is that I try as much as possible to relate blockchain terms to real world experience, just to make it very more understandable. So I don't want to repeat the same grammar that other people has explained wonderfully well. I just want to tie it to a real world event. For instance, now in Nigeria, let's use the example of driving. We drive the steering, we use the right. Is it the right or the left? I think the steering is is the left. Why, when we travel to Kenya, I think they drive from the right. So if, for instance, now the Nigerian government decides to change the policy that we want to drive from the right instead of the left, that is what we can relate to be a kind of hard fork, like changing the protocol rule that make the existing rule invalidated. So, of course, if the policy changed to driving from left to right, there will be all people that are driving, that they have their steering in the left side, have to change to the right side. So that is an example that I think I can bring up to make it more understandable, like changing the base rule to a new rule, which means the existing rule can still be valid to some certain period of time until that very rule become more enforced. Yeah. I don't know if that is okay.
Yeah, that was a great scenario. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone that contributed to this question that I asked. Thank you, Nana. And thank you, Megan and Abrama, for, giving a real life explanation to that. I think that will stick to my head now, because each time I read about art folks, I always forget, because I'm not really getting, but I think it can really stick to my head better now. Thank you. What again? So that is that about the Cardano road map from foundation to governance. Okay. So now let's move to the next thing we have, which is staking. in Cardano. We already talked about staking earlier. We're talking about while we're on the roadmap. We're discussing about the roadmap, but then this is just like maybe an overview of what staking means. Yeah. As well know that Cardano is a proof of stake blockchain, right? And when we're talking about staking in Cardano, it is more like talking about securing the network, just like we said earlier. And it is a state, we've talked about this before, but it is a state where ADA holders delegate their ADA to a stake pool and earn staking rewards in return. Oh, when I said I have a story to tell, I already talked about it. I said it earlier that I thought staking my ADA means taking all of my ADA from my wallet and give it to someone. And then I'll be like, what if this person runs away with my ADA? But it's not like that. I still have full access to my ADA while you stake. You still have full access to your ADA. I think the term is non-custodial. Is that the right word to use? Is that the right term?
Liquid staking.
Huh?
Liquid staking.
Liquid staking.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. And also during the period of the first time when I heard about DREP and someone reached out to me to delegate to them, I was like, me, come and take it now. I'm not giving you mine. But then I now know that that's not, I thought delegating to a DREP also means that giving you my ADA and all that, but it is not always like that. And that is why I will agree with what Nana said earlier, that education is very, very important, because if you don't even have idea of what you are doing, you just don't know about it. Yes. And we talked about the stake pool operators where Nana Safo gave a very beautiful illustration that stake pool operators are just like security guards, guiding the network, securing the network, and all of that. And also, you as an ADA holder, if you stake your ADA, you also help in securing the network as well. And earlier, I mentioned the word epochs. In Cardano, the staking life cycle is 5 days. The whole concept behind epochs is a little bit deep, and I don't know if anyone wants to give us a little, insight on how epoch works, but I know epochs in Cardano is like staking life cycle, and it's every 5 days. And when you delegate to a staking to a stake pool operator, you get rewarded every 5 days, and they call that passive income. Yeah, I just have an overview of the epoch words. I don't really know deep, because while I was learning, I saw different diagrams and my head was going south, like, what is this? So I don't know if anybody wants to put a little light on epochs or anything at all with concerning staking at a little bit deeper level. Anyone? Okay.
I want somebody to talk before I talk, but if nobody is talking, maybe I'll just talk. Whenever you hear epoch, think of it as Cardano's weekly calendar, right? Because that is our calendar. That is a calendar for Cardano. Instead of doing 7 days a week, we do 5 days a week, right? So, and you can think of the epoch as resetting all computers without necessarily shutting them down. That's what we do. So the network at some point needs to be reset, without necessarily shutting down, so that the data that has been compiled in the previous epoch or in the previous week can be stored properly. So that's basically what the epoch allows. And of course, it also allows for people to be able to get access to the reserves in terms of getting rewards, so that they can now distribute this reward with their delegators, as you were saying earlier, right? And one thing that is beautiful about this epoch is that, if, especially if you're a stake pool operator and you have serious amounts of delegation, what it means is that you don't need to wait until the end of the month before, you look out for your paycheck. At the end of every 5 days, it used to be 4 days, but now it's 5 days. At the end of every 5 days, you are seeing a paycheck, right? You are getting money to be able to, take care of your expenses, and also, of course, get something meaningful. And one thing that, one of the reasons why I loved the idea of stake pool, but of course never ventured into it, was the fact that with every stake pool, you were supposed to, or you were required to have, a mission, right? A mission that would, resonate with people for them to now delegate their either to you. So, for instance, if you take, stake pools like Smiles on Africa, right? It was an African stake pool. The guy was actually a Ghanaian, Jacob, and then his mission was to use a part of the rewards that he was earning to help with the less privileged persons get access to health insurance, right? So that is a very brilliant idea. I also know about an African stake pool that was I think it was the Goma stake pool. They were using theirs to support activities that were that had a motive of preserving nature. Right. So these are some of the ideas. And what it means is that you don't need to wait until the end of the month, to be able to get some money to do this work. But at the end of every 5 days, if your stake pool is active, if you have good delegation, even if you don't have good delegation, but then you have some delegation, and then you're able to mint blocks, then definitely you get some rewards. Your delegators also get some rewards. And then what you have, you take a part of it to go and feed on the mission that you are working on as a stake pool. So that's how the epoch works. Every 5 days, there needs to be a break for the blockchain to reset without shutting down, and then data is stored, and then rewards are released, and then we move on to the next 5 days, and then it moves in that sequence until the end of the year. Then it goes on like that.
Yes, that was beautiful, Nana. Thank you very much for that explanation. Does anyone want to add anything on top of that, or we should just move to the next thing? 3, 2, 1. Okay, please, let's move to the next thing. Oh, Abdurrahman, you raised up your hand. Sorry, I did not see that.
Don't worry. Let's move forward. I think as long as you understand the presentation Nana made, I think it's okay.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so governance. Governance is a big thing. Yes, it's a big thing. And I think Cardano implemented I think Cardano was actually the first chain to implement on-chain governance. And Cardano governance is the system that allows the community, you and I, to propose, to discuss, vote on, and approve changes to the Cardano blockchain. Even Charles cannot make decisions over himself. So it means that Cardano is built for the people. There is no one person saying it has to be this, it has to be that. It is you and I that come together as a community and make decisions in the ecosystem. And we're talking about governance. Governance answers questions like, should the network be upgraded? Should treasury funds be used for a new project? That is why we have governance actions, where you see different proposals from different people, and then the committee vote on it. It can, as an either holder, you can even vote. You can do direct voting, or you dedicate your voting power to a DREB. We also have the CC also voting, Sometimes stakeholder operators also vote on some certain governance proposal and all. I made a summary of the Cardano's governance pillars. Sometimes now on this call, I'm a bit I'm just laughing because because at some point I know a lot of people here that know too much, and then I just be like, should I say this? Should I just say that? Like talking about governance, I know Nana Sabo is a very big person in governance, So I'm just laughing in my head, like, oh, man, you this girl, what do you want to say here? But then, okay, I made a summary of Cardano's governance pillars, where me saying Cardano governance pillars, it means that who are the people that make up the governance, okay? And from what we have in this document, I wrote down the ADA holders. Anyone that has ADA, you are eligible. We also have the DREPs. We also have the Constitutional Committee. And who again? Stakeholder operators sometimes, So as a ADA holder, you have the voting power. You can vote by yourself, direct voting, or you delegate your voting power to a DREP, a delegated representative. A delegated representative is someone that represents you, that represents your voice. Maybe you are too busy to follow up what is going on, and also just delegate to this person. Okay, I think I trust this person. This person can make informed decisions on my behalf, and things like that. The second one, the delegated representative, I've already explained it earlier. I think it was about 2-3 years ago that the whole idea of DREPs came to life, and a DREP represents ADA holders. Just like I said earlier, if you don't have time for all the governance stuff going on in the ecosystem, you can delegate your ADA to a DREP. A DREP also reviews governance proposals. They vote based on interest of their delegators, and they're also accountable. Yeah. As a DREP, if someone delegates to you, someone can as well change their mind that, oh, man, I don't want Ayomi to be my DREP again. I want to delegate my vote power to someone else. And since I am. We also have, please, can you scroll up, please? Yes, thank you. We also have the Constitutional Committee. Yes, these people ensure that the governance action follow Cardano's constitution. As we know, that Cardano is an organization, right? And they have rules that I don't know how to put this, but there are, constitution means rules that are guiding an organization or something like that. So this constitutional committee ensures that this governance action follow Cardano's constitution. Their way is not just to control the network or stuff, but to verify that decisions aligned with the agreed governance rules and all. So another pillar is the stakeholder operators. We talked about stakeholder operators earlier, right? The stake pool continue to secure the blockchain by producing blocks, and they also play a role in governance by voting on certain governance actions. Yeah, I don't think they vote in every governance action, but there are some that they vote that they need to vote in. I think things like any ad hoc proposal or stuff are places where stakeholder operators can actually vote on. Yes. So there is a key word, the Cardano treasury. I could remember when I just joined the whole Cardano community. Any small thing I would hear people talking about treasury. Like, what is treasury? So that was the first time I actually heard the word treasury. I've never heard of it before, to be honest. And I tried to understand what they mean by treasury, and I was able to get the idea of what the Cardano treasury is all about. And that was when I learned that all of these transaction fees that is being deducted in every transaction, that it is going to the Cardano treasury, and that is where projects are being funded and all of that. Yes. So that is an overview of what I can talk about in terms of governance. So who wants to add something to it at a deeper level? Anyone? Nana Safo. Okay, Abdurrahman.
Yeah. I want to try, while I will be respecting my Oga Nana Safo, to validate or compliment whatever I say. Yes. In my understanding, there was a statement that I picked when you started that is it only Cardano that implements on-chain governance. Yeah, it is not only Cardano that implemented on-chain governance. We have other blockchains that implemented on-chain governance, the likes of Texas, we have Agora, and some others. The only difference from that principle was that Cardano make its governance more like a federated structural governance sample, just like a country governance. In my own understanding, that have structural body, agency that have different responsibility, like you've explained, the reps and constitutional committee and SPOs. So each of these agencies have their respective functionality. The rep are majorly to oversee if a particular governance action is actually, we are talking of rationality, logical sense, bad or good. That is the main focus of the DREP. The DREP can say yes based on a very wide variety of reasons why they are making the decision of either yes or no. Why CC members are just mainly to check whether a particular action is valid and considered to be constitutional. CC does not have that very power to say, due to the, for instance, maybe somebody is requesting that this will transfer all the treasury money to CC. So, is this constitutional? The main function of the CC is to check whether this is constitutional. Is there any clause in the Constitution that is protecting that or that make that kind of action valid? So I think that is the major function of the CC. Why SPO are majorly responsible for protocol parameter upgrade, the kind of ad hoc this thing. If they are changing anything from the protocol itself, maybe somebody proposed that you should lower the transaction fee on the Cardano blockchain entirely, or you should introduce whatever thing that might require an ad hoc. That is the main responsibility of the SPO. So they want to check and see what effect that will have on the entire network itself due to technicality requirements. And what I still also understand, you mentioned Constitution. The Constitution itself is one thing I found really interesting in that constitution itself is that if you are voting on chain now, a proposal can be constitutional and probably not really okay for the ecosystem. Europe have that very particular power. But what if a proposal gets the Europe support? For example, that I mentioned, that okay, an action was proposed that we should transfer the whole treasury fund into a particular group of people, maybe a small group of people, or whatever the case may be. So that is when the CC come in. The constitution has set some guardrails that no matter how, because on a simple majority terms, okay, the rep have the higher majority of votes on a particular constitution, on a particular action. It might be passed on a simple theoretical aspect of simple majority. But what the constitution guardrail says regarding such a particular actions. So I really found that very interesting about the Cardano constitution as well. So it distributed power to majority of agencies and order directly for themselves. And one of the most important things is that even the funding entity, any influencer, or whatever the case may be, don't have unilateral says or whatever thing they believe they want to do. So they have to call, even though that is checked, the constitutional committee have to check whether that action is actually considered to be valid according to the constitution that governs the entire Cardano ecosystem. Yeah, that is what I want to say. Thank you. Hey.
Yeah, I wanted to contribute to this discussion, but I also want to point out before we lose people that we do need a moderator for next week. Maybe we should do this at the beginning of the calls going forwards instead of the end. But Abdul Basid, you've been nominated. Are you interested in talking about legislation?
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, and I think, one thing I've noticed that the moderators are really going above and beyond. I think that's amazing. It's for sure not required. So you're free to moderate in any style that you would like.
Okay.
But the thing I wanted to add to this discussion is for us to all kind of take what the descriptions have been with a grain of salt, right? In the one sense, this was all designed to, appear to be decentralized and not have like concentrations of power. And there are checks and balances. But something, that I've been talking about since the early SIP workshops is that ultimately a lot of this voting comes down to your ADA power, which your ADA power gives your voting power. So holding more ADA, having more ADA staked to you, I guess just being an SPO, right? But that gives you more power in the governance. And as we're looking at things right now, unfortunately, if we think about kind of the DREP portion of that, it's a handful of DREPs who are deciding, which, that could be good and bad. I just want us to see for what it is and what's happening. Because being inside of the budget committee, for example, you all know I'm the chair of the budget committee. I actually don't have any power at all over what we do with the Treasury. Pretty much zero power. The budget committee does make recommendations for how the process should go and puts together kind of documents. So there's I shouldn't say no power, but I have some influence, I guess, in that sense. But ultimately, anything that we produce to be a procedure needs to get voted on, and it's really kind of the biggest piece is those voting parties, DREPs, SPOs, and the CC. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, Ayomi, since you're asking for kind of everyone to share their additional context on it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Megan, and thank you very much, Abdurrahman, for that. Um, so we spent over 1.5 hours already, and if you look at the module, Richmond, please can you go back to the first tab? Yes.
It's me. I'm sharing, by the way.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Richmond. Sorry. If you look at it, you'll see I highlighted about 7 things. We're able to like talk about 4 of it today. So the other 3 topics are a little bit technical, and maybe we should just explore it by ourselves. I can't really take all of that here. And yes, because my thoughts is that okay, on this call today I'll just talk about those 4 things, and then we are talking about Cardano in context, right? So we should just have idea about this, all of these things, and we'll be able to talk about about 4 of it today. So maybe we should all go, if we don't know about them, we could all just go and exploit ourselves, you know. Yes. So I think someone is dropping something. If you need further assistance with understanding anything. Oh yes, Nana. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you so very much. Yes. So guys, I think we've come to the end of today's session, and I really appreciate everyone's contribution and input on during the session and all of that. Thank you so much for making it interactive. Thank you for having me here today. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ayomi. This was an interesting session. I liked participating. Maybe I'll just pop over here. I did add Ayomi's document to these resource links for this week. Oh, did I stop sharing? I meant to share a different tab. Oh, shoot. Okay, well, if we go to the spreadsheet, I did add her document to the resource links for week 3. So everyone can access that if you want to after. And Abdul Basit, we're very excited to have you for next week as our moderator. I think Richmond will probably reach out to you for how you want to be presented on there. And, feel free to sign up for future sessions. The following week, we'll be diving into smart contracts, and then afterwards, DeFi, NFTs, and real-world assets. So keep a lookout for those. But thanks so much, everyone, for being here today. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.